Hello, my name is Mark Neal and I own Castle Rock Bike and Ski. Today we're going to be discussing a competition bike tune and how it relates to both a road bike as well as a mountain bike. The first thing we do with any competition bike tune is we clean off the bicycle and the drivetrain. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the chain, the cassette, the cranks, front rear derailleur, and all of those parts will run through the parts washer so they get fully clean. We then will clean off the frame and the fork as well as the wheel set. Then we go to adjusting all of the bearing surfaces on the bicycle. That includes the headset, both the front and rear hub, and lastly, the bottom bracket where the cranks go. Once we have the drivetrain fully cleaned, we put that back on the bicycle, and then we true and tension the wheels to make sure that they're adjusted correctly and they're round and true for the given rider. We then move on to adjusting the brakes on the bicycle, whether they're a disc brake or a rim brake, both front and rear. We then adjust the front and rear derailleur to make sure that the chain and the drivetrain moves through all of the gear ranges correctly for the given rider. We then move on to adjusting the tire pressure on the bicycle, and that requires making sure that we have the size of the rider given their weight, also the tire pressure range on the given tire, and using that information we set the tire pressure correctly for that given rider so that with a mountain bike you have more advanced traction, and with a road bike it rolls and is smooth as possible. We do a safety check on the bicycle, meaning that we go through and we check all the torque specifications for both the stem, if they're through axles on the wheels, and if it's a quick release, we make sure all the quick release skewers are adjusted correctly. We make sure that the crank arms are torqued to the correct specifications, as well as the seat binder bolt, and making sure that the seat is level and it's torqued as well. With a mountain bike, we move over to making sure that we have all of the suspension settings set correctly. And this requires getting the right information from the rider as far as the rider size, as well as what type of rider characteristics they have, whether they're more aggressive or more of a timid rider. That information we use to set the air pressures for both the front and the rear shock, as well as the compression and dampening settings for that rider as well. Lastly, when we get the bicycle down to do a test ride, we're going to double check all the ergonomics on the bicycle to make sure that that matches that given rider, i.e. the saddle is set to the correct height, it's level, all of the controls are in the right spot, both the shifters and the brakes and the reach adjustment on the brakes, because when we send you out the door, we want that bike to match you like a glove. That's what's entailed in a competition bike tune here at Castle Rock Bike and Ski.